All right, great. Thank you so much for your patience, everybody. We will start now. Thank you again for taking the time to join us on our series, of the founder series of the Kunle Assanai Foundation Academy, with the general topic of building and maintaining a sustainable eye care institution in sub-Saharan Africa, and where we've had Dr. Hassan talk to us on different things, sharing on his experience from setting up and running Eye Foundation Hospital Group over the close to 30 years now. Thank you for joining us again. We're going to start. Normally, our program is always a welcome, which I'm doing now, and then there will be an introduction of the speaker by the director of the Kunle Assanai Foundation Academy, Dr. Ayo Harriman. Following that, we'll have a presentation from Dr. Kunle Hassan, and then we'll open up the floor for questions and answers and feedbacks based on the topic he's going to talk to us about today. And then we will close. This is the final edition of this series. I think we've had like 9 so far, today being the 10th one. I'll just go quickly to our house rules. Our house rules are that we kindly keep our videos off. We only want the video of the presenter to be on. We should mute our microphone also as much as possible. We are allowed to bring them to unmute if we want to talk during the interactive session. And so we appreciate all of that. Without further ado, I'd like to call on Dr. Ayo Harriman for a brief introduction of the speaker, and then we can go into today's presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yemi. I'm sorry I joined late. There was a problem with connection. And I see some of our regulars have also found it a bit difficult to join. So hopefully they'll be able to join shortly. But by introduction, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. As this is the 10th lecture in our founder series of building and maintaining a sustainable eye care institution in sub-Saharan Africa. And it's been given by Dr. Adekunle Hassan, who is the founder and chief medical director of the Eye Foundation group of hospitals. This is the last lecture was on the future of eye care in a post-COVID pandemic environment, but we started with the Eye Foundation Hospital Group as a case study, and then he went on to meeting the challenges of a startup in ophthalmology practice. He also talked about building a crisis-resistant culture in an ophthalmic institution amidst a disruptive, volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous environment like we have in Nigeria. He talked about the role of core values in shaping employee behavior for organizational effectiveness. He also talked about the political economy of eye health in sub-Saharan Africa, professional politics and eye care development, strategic partnerships in eye health, and building the gap in human resources in eye care. His career spans over 50 years, during which time he has held notable leadership positions in the International Council of Ophthalmology, International Agency for the Prevention of Blindness, the African Ophthalmology Council, the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria, and outside ophthalmology, he has held keynote positions as directors in the Diamond Bank, now Access Bank. He is presently the chairman of Health Partners Limited, the Deseret International Hospital Limited, the Leon Economic Development Foundation, a microfinance organization, and also the Board of Management on Nobisi Onobanjo University Teaching Hospital in Ogun State of Nigeria. He has established very high standards for quality eye care and public-private partnerships for eye care through the institutions he has founded, and has created a robust and sustainable infrastructure through the Eye Foundation Hospital Groups to drive his vision to eliminate avoidable blindness in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. Today's lecture is Take a Stand and Dare to Be Different. So, Dr. Hassan, we welcome you to your 10th lecture and the last webinar this year in the Founders Series. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Harriman, for your kind introduction. I would like to thank everybody that is here today to listen to the 10th lecture on the Founders Series, which is going to be more or less the last that I will give continuously. But from next year, this lecture will continue, the Founders Series will continue, but we'll be inviting people from different phases of life in academics and business to give the lecture. So it's going to be a continuous series for the institution, and we will be getting in touch with everybody to let you know more about what we plan in terms of this lecture to enrich our knowledge and lives and to discuss how we can interact and make things better. While I was thinking of what really can I give as the last lecture of the Founders Series in this first year, we've talked a lot about management, we talked a lot about politics and eye care, we talked a lot about how best we can professionally improve things. But at the end of the day, success is determined by a lot of factors in a society. Depends on the society which we are and where we practice. If you look at the Western world, USA, UK, there are processes and systems in place. They are not perfect, but when there's a violation of anything that will affect the future of organizations, there's a honorable way out. People will take a bow. When people's name, there's cases of immorality, there's cases of dishonesty, or whatever in the system, however imperfect, but once something is decided and it is detrimental to the progress of the organization or anybody, people pay the price by buying out, or by even some of them going to jail. But when we come to countries like Nigeria, most of the African countries, it's not the same. When we were brought up by our forefathers, there were standards, even in the Yoruba culture, the whole kingdom system, where the king is supreme, but there are checks and balances. We have the kingmakers. We have the people who decided, okay, you are the king, but these are the rules. And when a king violates what affects the morality of the fiber of the society, the king has two choices, which were given to him by the kingmakers. One is to abdicate and go into exile, or the second is to commit suicide, whereby the king will go in, eat poison, and the kingmaker will announce that the king is dead. This reflects the extent of the moral issues that determines the character and also the sources of the society that we were born in, that our leaders brought together to constitute what is called Nigeria. But let's look at things now. Let's look the way the country is going, that is affecting everybody, every fiber of the society, is that whereby character is no more an issue. Even those who have the determination to make a difference give ways under pressure. And where there's no honesty, things will fall apart. And where there's honesty, other virtues will follow. The success of any organization, of any story, depends on the character of the people, the leadership, and the followership within the organization. So success in Africa, and especially in a country, Nigeria, depends on your ability to take a stand for what you believe in. To decide that you dare to be different from what is the normal. And there are prices to pay for this. When you decide to take a stand for what you believe in, and you decide to dare anything to keep the standard and be who you are, you pay a lot of penalties. The question is whether you're determined to see it and endure to the end and get the final result. You might not. It might take you maybe 500% more efforts to achieve what you're going to achieve when you compare with the people in a society that is, the fabric is more honest and reasonable. But at the end of the day, you will get there. And what we have in Nigeria today, and still keep Nigeria going today, is because there are some people who desire to take a stand for what they believe in, who decide dare to be different, who desire that whatever it is in their days, those found dishonesty, I put to death, but something within them dies. Their conscience chokes, their character withers, and self-respect vanishes. Integrity dies. How cheaply some men and women said their good names. That was the feelings when we were growing up. But now the reverse is the case. Now, immorality, dishonesty, everybody wants to get it fast, is the order of the day. And these have led us to people who are dishonest, people who have questionable character, rising to the leadership of organization, rising to the political leadership, and determining the failure of our process because they themselves they don't know what to do. They don't know they don't even understand the system. The language is money. You make the money at the expense of your people. You make the money without working for it. So they make thrift and hard work a laughing stock within the site. But it should not be. We should be prepared to stand for what we believe in and prepared to pay the price. We should be prepared to look at our fading civility and carry on the essence of courtesy, politeness, and consideration of others. All of the education and accomplishment in this world will not count for much unless they are accompanied by mark of civility, gentility, respect for others, and going an extra mile to do things that will touch people's life and maintain their dignity. This is what is lacking across the board. And only few are really looking beyond and having the bigger plan and believe that this country can be better by doing what is right, by sticking to the right path and learning that they have to continue to work with all they desire to get understanding. It is tough. It's sometimes you sit down after a whole day and you see what you've done and you look at yourself and ask yourself, does it really worth it? But the strong things that make a character is to endure to the end, despite all the challenges. So when we look at our industry today, every step we're making in the healthcare, every step, there's a counter move to frustrate that step. Mediocrity has taken over from excellence. People do not give respect anymore for intelligence, for hard work. People depend on who you know to get to where you are and result in having a round peg in a square hole. So at the end of the result, we're all a victim of that. People do not realize anymore that no matter how we become, we can acquire knowledge and use it. We can gather wisdom and profit from it. We can grow and progress and improve. And in the process, we strengthen the lives of those within our own circle of influence. That was the big desire and goal of iFoundation where we started. The goal is to give our best back to the society. The goal is to work and touch and strengthen lives within our sphere of influence. Invest in training, invest in human capacity, and make people evolve to be the best of themselves. And in the process, they build themselves. They also add value to the society. And I'm sure most of the people within our organization, if they're sitting down today, it's not a matter of money. It's not a matter of what they made. It's a matter of the values and what they've given in return in appreciating the gifts given to them by the Lord and using it to touch others and being an instrument in the hand of God to do good and to continue to do good. And when you're within that frame, you will prosper. There's no way. Prosperity is not just money. Prosperity goes with conscience. It goes with happiness. It goes with achieving those things that money cannot buy. So it's very important for us to always look back and redefine our position, where we're going, how can we do it better. If we look at things that we've passed through in our organization and in other organizations, there are rooms for real bitterness because people will stand on your way, both administratively or achieving things in the ministry or where. I remember that when iFoundation, we were not registered in the ministry until we were almost 10 years old. We filled all our forms to be submitted for registration at the ministry, but we were asked to pay an extra bribe, and we refused to pay. But we got all our receipts and kept it in the safe for 10 years until when the right person got there that we knew and we got registered. It shouldn't be, but that's the order of the day. You cannot get anything done without compromising your stand. And this is because it's difficult for us now to put our house in order. Houses are put in order through thrift and industry, through hard work, through virtues of industry and trade, which I believe goes hand in hand. And labor and the thrift of the people within a nation, a community, or family make things strong. Work and tricks make the family independent, makes institution bigger, give the people who work in any of those institutions this personal pride of ability to do things and think and do it right, to disagree between right and wrong. This is disappearing within our society. This is coming bit difficult to disagree between white and black. Everything is now a gray field. And we're seeing it in our profession, even in practice. And we've seen it whereby people cannot stand for what they believe, or the training, or the other. They will sell their conscience and soul for a peanut, taking bribes, what we consider as a bribe, even in their practice. Bribing people so that they can refer patients to them, bribing people so that they can do all things. It's becoming a network that compromises integrity. But I always say, when you have the skill, when you have the means, and you have the fear of God, and you deliver service and add value to your patients, you will survive where the others have failed. The others could have made their money and get out of the system, ripping off the nation. But those who take a stand and dare to be different from the norms of what is going on, they are the one who will be seen at the end of the day that they are successful, because they've inculcated into themselves the discipline of enduring to the end. Another important thing that we experience and is the optimism in the face of cynicism. These days, people don't see the good anymore. They only see us to stop seeking out the storm rather than enjoying fully the sunlight. Everybody see the woe, the bad side of the story. We see the fault in the system. Fine, but nobody is making effort to correct it. I think those of us who believe in what you're doing, who have the faith, we should definitely be prepared to stick to it and believe that despite all the stormy situation, despite all the bad news, despite all the bad story, we keep our focus on that which is positive. Because when we keep a focus on that which is positive, naturally, our mindset and our mental condition, we always be thinking outside the box of that and creating new things that we endure, that will keep us relevant until that day that our hope for a better future will arrive. I believe in a discipline, in healthcare industry, in a nation. The time will come that all this will become part of the story of the past. So we must not rely on the past, but we must keep on the future, which is very important. And the only thing that can keep us there is to have faith and hope and to continue to do things in the way that we know that will bring dignity to our profession. You know, men and women who desire to contribute in a meaningful way to our society will find capacity to do so increased by several simple principles. I remember Peter Drucker did a study on managers of American big institutions. And after he concluded that, you know, after analysis and study of all the system, there's executives of those successful organizations ability to seem to have, the ability seems to have very little impact on their correlation with their intelligence, with their imagination or brilliance. Rather, he found out that effective leaders do four things. Effective leaders practice conservation of time. If we practice conservation of time, we get more out of the time that is available for us. We manage the time and in such a way that at the end of the day, if we can manage that time successfully and use it to do positive things, half of the problem is solved. Half of the battle is won. But sometimes we spend most of our time on mundane things that do not add value to us, that at the end of the day, we only spend about 20% of our time on things that we add value. So we've got to manage our time, because time is what is free to everybody. either rich, poor, big or small organization, or whatever you are. Time is to say 24 hours a day. Is how we're able to effectively use this time and manage it and concentrate on things that are positive. Things that are not necessary, you skip it aside. The other thing that I found among the executives that are successful is that they have their eye fixed on new developments. We must, I repeat, we must try as leaders to be ready and study all the time, to engage our brain effectively in rational thinking and also thinking that stimulates a bright mind to see what others cannot see, gives you a vision of possibilities. And if we can do that, then we must look into the future. We'll be able to look into the future and be able to forget the past and use the experience of the past to create new things. I remember some of my friends when we just started, who are not even in ophthalmology, but generally in business, and they will write a very good business plan and give it to organizations for finance and all this, and they discover that that business plan is taken away from them, and before you know, other people, they're using it. But I always tell them that they can do that, but they do not have the passion that the person who put all this together, who thought through it, and how to execute it will have. So they fail. So we should constantly open our mind to criticism, either good or bad. It adds value one way or the other. It helps you. By the time you share your views and all these things, at the end of the day, what you're going to execute, the guideline that you follow your execution of the projects, whatever it is, will have been modified, because through the criticisms, you were able to see do a SWOT analysis and see the shortcomings within the system, and you will come up a better person. So really, leaders must constantly seek knowledge, must constantly read, must constantly challenge the system, and must constantly listen to the younger generations who can add value to you. And decision is better made in sort of teamwork rather than a solo work. But however, as a leader, you must be able to process faster, because you have a vision for the future that many may not see, but you need them in order to achieve that vision. Another thing you discover is that they build good leadership. They build on the strength of their colleagues. Everybody has something to contribute, but it's the ability to be able to identify what that person has to contribute is very important. So no man or woman can do it alone. There's need for synergy that will lead to success. So teamwork is great. If you look at the cricket team, you look at the football team, all the games is teamwork that creates success. So it is in all sphere of life. So from my experience over the years, why iFoundation has been successful to what it is not because of one person, it's because of teamwork. You can have a vision of investing in people, you can have a vision of training, but during that training process, a leadership by example inspired those who you work with, who you train, in order to be like you. So you are clothing yourself, and the best clothing is by example. And when they get the best out of you, those who are clothing, and they add their own vision, their own ability on top of what they've got out of you, definitely they'll be better than you are. And that's what should make you happy as a leader, that you've cloned yourself, not only cloning yourself, you've got a better clone. So this is very important in whatever we do. So I will definitely encourage us to invest in people, to see the younger generation, to invest in them, to mentor them. If we can get 1 out of 10, those 1 out of 10 can clone themselves, and the multiple effect of this will be able to create a successful organization and also a successful society. So teamwork is good. I always mention to my colleagues that we don't have to be very, very close friends to work together. All we need to do is to share the same vision on achieving the goals of the organization. And once we share that, along the line, we have common fronts that will bring us together and that we can discover that we can be best of friends. Another thing that came out of Peter Drucker's study is that those good leaders, leading organization, standing for what they believe in and seeing it through and enduring to the end, usually starve the problems and feed the opportunities. Okay? We always have challenges. If we spend all our time listening to the problems and answering those questions and doing those, facing those challenges, you discover that you can have a burnt-out syndrome. You will not even have the opportunity to look at what is beyond. So he discovered that a good leader deals with the problem as wisely as you can. And once you've dealt with the problem, you throw the problem away behind you. You don't start worrying about them. Because if you don't turn around and stand tall and put your head up and look for ways to the future in order to look at the opportunities that are behind, you will lose that opportunities and your organization will remain dormant. Especially in this environment, you have to be twice as good and smart to always think a step ahead, because there's so many competing challenges that if you start thinking of them, is it the one you have about government? Is it the one you have about security? Is it the one you got about billions and millions, trillions of naira being stolen? Things that can depress you. You stop listening to those ones. You stop looking at the opportunity within. When a society is greedy and is all over money, quick bucks, they are low-hanging fruits that they are not paying attention to that can still give you a good life, you can still make a good business out of it. So while everybody is rushing for the gold, you might just wait and look at the dust coming from the gold that nobody's gathering. And at the end of the day, you might be a better person in terms of mindset, in terms of happiness, in terms of what you can achieve. So the goal in life is how best can we, despite all the challenges, be able to take a stand, be able to say, okay, I'm going to different. I'm not going to follow all the Joneses. I'm going to pay the price. And one thing that is sure in this sort of taking a stand on leadership is the loneliness of leadership. When you decide to take a stand for what you believe in, when you decide not to give a bribe where people are giving, when you decide that you're not going to judge Joneses undermining things, there's a price to pay, and that price is loneliness. The loneliness of leadership is real. You must be able to detach yourself from the society. The time spent on going to parties, going to dues, those great men that great achievements spend their time to think and put things together where the others are spending the time to enjoy the basic life. The other guy is burning the candle at night and putting things together and thinking through how to do it. It's a lonely life. There's no doubt about it. So the loneliness in leadership is not new. It's even biblical. I mean, if we're Christians and you look at things, you look when the Lord Jesus Christ was crucified on the cross, and even he was alone. So loneliness is the price you pay for leadership. And if you're a Muslim, you read the Quran, you see a lot of places where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, was extremely lonely in terms of the decision making. So we should be prepared that if you want to be a leader or you want to lead an organization, even within the family, leading a family, you have to prepare for the loneliness of leadership. You have to be able to see things where others cannot. You have to be able to think through. You have to be able to say, what are the consequences of my action? And how best can I defend it? Even at the initial loss of many things, but at the end of the day, you will find that you have a glorious end than those who have just joined the Jones. A good example is Florence Nightingale. Florence Nightingale, a British lady from an aristocratic home that should be going to big parties, going to clubs to watch movies and watch all the plays and have the golden spoon in her mouth. But she's decided to be different. At that time, there was what was going on. Soldiers were being brought on, and they were kept in camps that were so dirty and filthy. And this young lady decided that she was going to make a difference. She got people together. They went in and cleaned the place and tends the runs for miles. And she was able to make the difference. And the death rate from just taking care of the fields and taking care of the people decreased from about 45% to just about 20%. And through that single act, she was able to replicate these, and she remained unmarried. At the end of the day, she didn't even want any recognition for it. She quietly moved on and continued to do what she was doing. Today, her name is written in gold, and we always remember by all the nurses and other people. So a lot of things, situation will happen in our life. We have to decide where we want to pitch our tent. Do we pitch our tent in order to do good? Yes, you need money to survive. Yes, you need this. But if the only thing you can sell as a professional is your skill, and if you can sell your skill to those who can afford it, and you can bend backwards to also use those resources to provide for those who cannot afford, you will have a balanced life, and you have a recipe for happiness, and you feel fulfilled that at least you're touching as many lives as possible. So basically, all I'm trying to do is to talk to the younger ones. If you look at in our own situation, you look at the young ophthalmologists. I've been following the activities online. These young ophthalmologists should be where our future lies. They are the one we have to encourage them. They're the ones, some of them, I don't blame them, we run out of the country to another country. It's like going from a self-inflicted slavery to a planned slavery. Whatever we think about this massive immigration, this massive brain drainage to the Western world, is patriotism. They're fulfilling their goal. They need them, they train them, they're cheap. Yeah, But those guys will never get to the peak of their career. They'll be used to sustain the system. But to them, to some, it's better. At least there's no problem of NEPA and there's no. But I was impressed when I see people who said, okay, this is my country. Things might be difficult, but I can stay and make a difference. Because at the end of the day, the life we touched determines the blessings which we have in return. So we have to look at the young ophthalmologists. We have to help them. We have to spend time to let them see that they can create opportunities despite the chaos, the situation we're in, and they can make a lot of difference. They can survive. But we, who are the older ones, should help them to create a platform on which they can build that hope and have the faith that at the end of the day, they will be able to achieve their goals. The question is, are we doing that? There's no doubt we can be doing that, and there are some of them that will resist it. There's some of them that will not see the good in it and think that maybe it's another type of slave because they want it quick. But whatever it is, we must look at their needs. We must see how best we can help them. We must recalibrate how professionals can be compensated enough for the number of years they spend in institutions and at least feed their family, have a plan in future to have a roof over their head, can be mobile, and can be seen in society as somebody that meets their basic need, not necessarily rich. Being rich means different things to many people. Skill, wisdom, knowledge is part of richness. And your intelligence is the only things that you will definitely rise with. We're not going to take anything. We brought nothing with us, and we're not going to take anything with us. The only thing that will rise with us is the intelligence. And it's those intelligence that are bear witness for or against us at the right time. So let us look things more holistically. Let us see what is our need. The older we get, the more that our needs are minimal. Our responsibility is towards our family, training our children, giving them the best so that at the end of the day, they too can be better than we do. We must look at how best can we make that happen. How best can we help our junior colleagues by critically telling them the truth from the beginning, how to pitch their tents, and how to work hard, how to make the sacrifice initially. And when they're now well-formed, they'll be able to face the challenges ahead and be able to meet their goals. So we have a huge responsibility if we want the future to be bright for those who are coming behind us. If we don't do it, fine, they will survive. But some other people will come at the right time and start doing it. So it's a function whether we do it now and accelerate the pace at which we too can transform from underdeveloped to a more developed society. Our profession can transform from mediocrity to excellence. So it will be for our own good to be part of that process, rather than to continue in this, what it is today, until maybe things get to the rock bottom. And then somebody will have to start again. But if we have more or less laid a good foundation to the best of our knowledge, even if it's in a few people or among the people who are under our sphere of influence, it will be easier for those who are coming back from us to help us to bring our profession to the top line of efficiency and excellence. And they will always remember us for the good or the bad that we've done. So in a nutshell, what I'm driving at is we've got to overcome bitterness with love. We got to look at things holistically. We got to make up our mind that we continue to work hard despite the frustrations. We continue to give the best of self and touch as many life despite within our limitations, despite our frustrations. We begin to look at things using our time more in such a way that a lot of our problems we solve instead of spending our time in non-productive things. We got to fix our eyes on new developments in our professions and all things. Try to reach out internationally and be part of the international community. Try to work through organizations like the AOC, of America, Nigeria, Different Society, American Academy. Try to acquire knowledge and use that knowledge to create foster among our colleagues, and based on the strength, and use the strength of our colleagues in order to make things successful as a teamwork. And also, don't let us see the problems all the time. Let's just stop the problem and feed the opportunities. Let us believe in ourselves and believe that however little things might be, however difficult things might be, let us focus on that and be optimistic about things. And let us set our mind on that which is positive than the negative. Let us block our ear to the negative things within the system, but none of it, and use it to make us, to stimulate us to think for a solution all the time and how best we can overcome it. These are the fundamentals that have guided an institution called our foundation. These are the fundamentals that created our values, and these are the fundamentals that we've passed on from one group to the other. And it's our interest to embrace this value as a golden opportunity to make a difference in our own life, in the life of others, and the society, and the nation. We have to take a stand for what we believe in, against all oppositions, against all stress. And they have to be different from what is going on in the nation. And the price of it, there'll be heartache, there'll be headaches, there'll be disappointments, there'll be real loneliness in leadership. But at the end of the day, our character will be formed. We'll be a point of reference for good, and our name, the name and the legacy we leave behind, will always be there to bear witness that we've done our best and we continue to do our best and pass on the legacy to new generations that are coming, even some of them unborn, an institutionalized institution as an example to be copied by other institutions that even be greater than what we have created. This is the goal, and this goal we must not lose sight of it and do our best to keep it. And I'm sure by the grace of God, we continue to strive, and all of us at the end of the day will be part of the success story and give us the sort of joy and happiness that we look forward to. So thank you for listening to me, and I think if there are questions or any interactive sessions, we can go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I just want to encourage us to, if we want to talk, we can put our hands up, or we can post things into the chat box. But I'd like to say one thing, that from the first time I met Dr. Hassan in 1997, he has lived all what he has said in the past 10 lectures. And even all what he has said today, he has put into practice. And I've learned that from him and put such into practice. Some of us, as he said, will not run away. We will stay in Nigeria. We will face the challenges. And I learned this from him. So, which means that what he has said today is possible. We should not think it is impossible. And I like what you said, sir, about leadership, that it is very lonely. I came to learn that in the course of my profession and my career, and trying to be different and do things differently. But as you said, in the end, one will be successful. We should always be optimistic, even in the face of cynicism. We should see good and keep our focus on that which is positive. So despite Nigeria being a VUCA environment, we should still be positive. So I don't know if anybody else wants to comment, I mean, from their interactions with Dr. Hassan. As I said, this is the last lecture of the year. Next year, as Dr. Hassan said, we'll be doing something different, something more exciting, something more encouraging. But if you would like to make a few comments and contributions, we're all ears. So I will keep talking until I see some hands up, and I would like to encourage us, please. There. He talked about Peter Drucker and effective leaders. They spend time on things that add value. They have their eyes fixed on new development and use the past experience to create new things. Good leadership is built on the strength of their colleagues. There has to be synergy that will lead to success. We should clone ourselves. We should not just hold on to what we have. We should let go. We should open our palms. We should clone ourselves, invest in the younger generation. And as we clone them, they add their ability to that which we have put in them. We should invest in people. We should mentor them. And sharing the same vision on achieving the goals of an organization is what has brought the I Foundation to what it is today, through God's help. And leaders staff problems, they feed the opportunities. We look at the dust and not only the gold, because there's gold in the dust as well. So any contributions there? For those of us that have been in the I Foundation, I'm going to call on some of you to please make some comments there before we round up. Let me just see those. So I will start with Dr. Ogunvo. Dr. Adola Ogunvo. Please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir, for the lecture series, and especially this also has opened our eyes. Actually, what Dr. Harriman mentioned, knowing you and working with you for many years, I've seen there is one thing which is also very crucial, when facing the difficulties. I've seen you going through the difficulties and being able to solve the problems, and really you've been an inspiration to many of us and learned so much from you. And I hope that one thing that is also, which I have learned, is that the views of others you really cherish, and even before you make a decision, at every decision you want to know what the view of other members are. And this is very important. We've seen this, it has actually helped many of us to, sometimes when you don't even think you want to make a decision, you'll be made to think and think out something very important. And this has helped in a lot of many ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ogunro. Yes. Dr. Oluyadi, Yeah, the grandfather of the other doctors, of the lot of us. So please, we'd like a comment from you. You can unmute yourself, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Doctor.
Okay, he might have dropped out, but once he logs in again, then I'll call him back. Dr. Is that him? Okay, maybe that's him. Dr. Okonkwo.
Okay, Dr. Ayo, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, sorry, my network is a bit unstable. And I hope I don't drop out, but there are so many things I would like to say about Dr. Hassan and about the lecture. And one of the things that catches my my attention really is the concept of loneliness in leadership, as he has said, which is very true. I see that many leaders, including Dr. Hassan, could end up being very lonely people because their views are not generally the acceptable views or the widely accepted views. And this has been so much talked about, and I think it's one of the price that has to be paid for leadership. But I would also quickly say that I often think to myself that I feel jealous about Dr. Hassan's achievements because he has been able, I don't know, I always feel that what he has accomplished, it's very difficult to replicate. And that's what he has done by training so many of us. And I wonder at times whether I can train people to be to that level at which he has trained us, not just skill-wise, but in terms of values, ability to stand your ground, and so many other moral aspects of life that we have seen. These are things that you don't learn from textbooks, but you rather learn them through mentorship, through observation, watching carefully the way and manner in which he takes care of issues. Well, it's not an easy thing because in today's world, it's not an easy thing to start from the way he has started. Not just the infrastructure, but as he has said, investing in the younger ones. It's not easy anymore to see those young ones who are focused and ready to be mentored. I mean, I know during my time, I was very focused, I was teachable, and I was very enthusiastic to learn. It is more difficult to find those building blocks in today's youth, and that is the challenge. And unlike in my own time, when we were very focused, these days there are so many distractions. You have the you have the Facebook, you have the WhatsApp, you have all manner of things. So the values have changed completely. The values have changed. So to mentor someone, you need the building block. There are fewer of them, but not many. The building block needs to be there. That's been the issue that I have to contend with. The building block, the person needs to be interested in being mentored. He has to be able to follow through with the mentorship. I have been in the I Foundation for over 20 years, but how many youths are willing to even spend 6 years? Before they are very restless. Today you meet them, you discuss this with them, and when they see you tomorrow, they are telling you another thing. You even wonder whether it's worth the time you spend trying to mentor them. I think these are the challenges that need to be more thoroughly discussed on how to get the youths, the younger generation of ophthalmologists, to imbibe that culture of wanting to be mentored, aspiring to get to a level that they see their senior colleagues have got to, not just get to that level, but actually aspire to surpass that level. So this is a challenge in our time, and it's something that perhaps we may have to look for a different way, a way that is not the normal orthodox way of mentorship to be able to deal with it. So I am proud to have passed through the iFoundation system from the scratch and evolved to the level at which I am. And I will be only happy to see younger ones that are greater than I am. You know, that's because I've learned and I've benefited. So you can only want to do the same to replicate what you experienced. And it becomes a bit of a challenge and actually a bit frustrating when the building blocks, the younger ones that you really should be mentoring, are not really perhaps there or are not responding the way one would expect. So maybe this is also a issue to discuss. And so I would want to just, I think this will be my own summary of everything. But really, I think that I have benefited so much, and I can only want to give back, because the Holy Scripture says it is more blessed to give than to receive. So thank you very much, Ayo.
Thank you very much, Dr. Okonkwo. We'll allow Dr. Hassan to give a final talk after 2 or 3 more people have made their comments. Thank you very much, Dr. Okonkwo. Dr. Oluyade is back. So Dr. Oluyade, I think anytime he wants to connect, it appears to cut off. So Dr. Denwilo is also one of the foundation members of this group practice. Thank you, Dr. Denwilo.
Yeah, thank you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I think the network has not been very friendly today. So I think what really catches my attention is the topic, which says dare to stand. Take a stand and dare to be different. I think that basically summarizes a lot of things that I've learned from Dr. Hassan as a protege. I'm very proud to say, I tell a lot of my friends, I say, anywhere I go, even at the academy, when I'm greeting people, they say, where's Dr. Hassan? Where's Dr. Hassan? Everybody is asking me, where's Dr. Hassan? Because I've absolutely walked around with him. Whenever we go to the academy, I'm like his tail. I follow him everywhere. I want to know everybody he knows. I want to know everything, because I see in him someone who actually has taken a stand, has decided he's going to make a difference, no matter what anyone says. He just wants to make a difference. A lot of time we see the challenges he's faced, and times that I thought that this one is just going to quit. No, he doesn't. And I'll use these words again from him, and that is reinventing yourself in order to meet the challenges. And so that's about the whole, a lot of things we've learned from him. This topic particularly also strikes a chord in me, because it just seems that the problems they keep rolling at you. The challenges keep rolling at you. Most of us now, what we're all talking about is the new generation trained in terms of skill, in terms of commitment, and those things, like Dr. Okonkwo said, those things, the challenges are there. Sometimes when I remember the things we had to go through to learn, I'm not sure if most of these friends are ready, but we just have to reinvent ourselves and find a way to overcome these challenges, and probably listen to them more, because I think they might be right in a lot of things. They begin to look at things from their eyes rather from than from our own eyes. So it's a lecture series. I'm looking forward to what's next year and all the new angles that will be brought into this. I think these are lectures that residents, everyone in ophthalmology should listen to, because they are not textbook. They're not things you see in textbooks. These are life lessons, and I appreciate Dr. Hazan for spending his time again with us to give us this. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Odemilo. Thank you very much. Now we have some from the diaspora. We have Dr. Ajayobe from the diaspora. I don't know if you want to make a comment. That's Dr. Ekundayo Ajayobe. She's a consultant pediatrician at Hammersmith Imperial College. I don't know if you'd like to make any comments, because you have dared to be different, and you've joined a few of the lectures, a couple of lectures here. So just a short comment.
I'd just like to add, in terms of the young ones, I agree, we have to look at it from their own angle as well. It's true that I think in a way they feel a bit disappointed by us, and they're now deciding they're taking it into their hands. And this is not only sector, it's not the only sector. I think it's across board. You have to realize that with the technology age, and their innovators, they're deciding to go it alone, which in a way is not the right thing, because I think they will, there's a lot they have to learn, and we should be working together. They're going to ask for more from us. So what we didn't get, they're asking for more. They're the generation where they're asking for more. And if we're not willing to actually walk along with them, then it's not going to, we're not going to get the best. They're the future, and we have to sustain, I think we've got to sustain medicine. We've got to make sure that medicine continues to evolve. And I mean, that's my comment. So I agree with everybody there, here that we have to agree with Dr. Hazan that we have got to actually encourage the young ones, adapt. But at the same time, let them recognize that it's important that they need to learn the skill well. I always say to my young colleagues that, let me tell you, if you're not willing to do this hard work, who's going to look after your children? Who's going to look after your children? You want to do this thing in 2-3 years and jump here and there, and you want to put the hours in. Who's going to look after your children? I think suddenly step back and look. That's just my comment.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ajayobe, for your comments. So we have just about 12 minutes left. So back to you, sir, just for your final comments. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody, for your kind words, for your expression. Dr. Ajayobe reminds me of what Professor Lambo of blessed memory said one day. I was with him and he said, you know, Kunle, I'm worried about you and your generation. I said, what do you mean, sir? I said, you are taking care of us. Anything we want, you get us the best, you take care of this, you call yourself. I just wonder, who are the people who are going to take care of you? He said, I wonder who are the people who are going to take care of you? Are these younger ones? Have you prepared them enough to be able to take care of you? And I think that's what led to the founding of the Deseret International Hospital. And I always like to conclude to read what one of my great mentors, Professor Wallace Foust, he's passed on now, was 97. He trained me and gave me all the best in Glasgow. And he was very fond of me. And when I was preparing this lecture, I was going through my old notes and books and tried to see to the past. And he said, in that note he sent to me, then, before he sent me to Saudi to go and do retina at the hospital, He said, there's nothing in all the world so satisfying as a task or performance well done. There's no reward so pleasing as that which comes with the mastery of a difficult problem or challenge. My plea is that we constantly take the position that every one of us can do better than we are now doing. We are in a constant search for excellence. That search must be continuous and never ending. It must be consuming and unrelenting. We must, as people, we will not rise to a position of excellence as an individual or institution before the world until we begin to restore and rebuild a foundation of moral, ethical, and spiritual strength. Happily, such a lofty and crucial pursuit does not require genius, but it does require endurance and commitment. I always cherish that. I read it about often. That is true. The best brains are not genius. You see the history of a lot of the guys, even the modern history. Look at Charles Bronson. Look at other guys who were written off, including, they make a lot of impacts and change their world. Not because they're geniuses, but they will show endurance and commitment. If we show that, committed to a cause and endure all things, at the end of the day, we shall have all it takes. And spiritually, he stated, if we endure to the end, all the things, the commandments, and all the things thrown at us, at the end of the day, you get the prize of all, which is eternal life. So whatever we do with endurance and commitment, there's a promise of a glorious end. So despite all our challenges, despite all our limitations, let us continue to commit ourselves to the future of the younger generation. As Dr. Obi mentioned, it will always affect, they can pass it on. The greatest gift of life is to be able to pass it on. If we pass this on to the next generation, then they pass it to another generation. And that's when we can say we've done our best. And the other generation will take care of themselves. And we will have the opportunity to look back. There will be a smile on our face. So thank you very much. And I wish you all a Merry Christmas, a good New Year. And we hope the next year will bring us more joy, more challenges, that we find solutions, and this nation will be on the pathway to greatness. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I don't really want to take us back, but Dr. Oluyade is on again. And I know he was the first member of the group practice. To start with you. Dr. Oluyade, I hope you won't be bounced out again. So,
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I made effort to give my contribution the other time, so it was the service that actually got me out. Personally, I don't know what to say about how much Dr. Hazan has impacted on me in almost 22 years that I've been with High Foundation. I was coming from a generation of doctors in the government service, and I am today informed that what I benefited from High Foundation in those 22 years were overwhelming and made a complete difference in my attitude to how ophthalmology should be practiced. There's nothing I can add to all we have benefited in the 10 series lectures. He has always impacted this discipline in us all over the years. and it's just, the lectures are just reminded us of what he has been telling us, even from the beginning of my relationship with Christ Foundation. So I think I should give all my gratitude to God and to him for making me the ophthalmology that I am today. Thank you. Hello.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Lou Yadi. Thank you very much. Sir, before we finally round up, sorry, can we mute our microphones? Thank you. Dr. Okumo put something in the chat box that the summary of your leadership style is transformational, life-changing. How have you been able to make the younger ones believe in you? Mr. Dele Salami says OKH is a pathfinder and he focuses on recruiting navigators. So we have just 4 minutes left, sir. How have you been able to make the younger ones believe in you? How have you been able to make me believe in you? And so many others. Just if you could.
How do I say that? Well, you see, everything in life depends on. It depends on how you see life. I was brought up by parents that I watched my dad and all this, despite his acumen and business and all these things, and I always see a lot of people around him. And then I thought most of them were families. Some of them were not families. And he has particular interest in each of them. And one day we said, this one has this is the source of this guy. We must help. He must do this. He must do that. And most of his activities in business, he more or less relied on people and he trusts them. And when they do well, he's always happy. When they don't do well, he's always there for them. So I've learned to see the good in people. Sometimes, as everybody have a weakness, I see sometimes I have that weakness. Once I like somebody, I try not to see the bad side of you. I can help to work on it. I can help to tell you the truth and all these things. And seeing the best in people and bringing the best out of them, telling them that they can raise their head, telling them they are potentials, encourage them when they're down. And so that keeps me going. That's me. I want to see these guys, let them be successful. Because if I just look at myself today, if I've come back to Nigeria and I've just developed myself alone, where will I Foundation be today? I don't even do one over 200 of the work in I Foundation anymore. I go around in the lift, I see some people I don't even know that as members of staff. And this is because we believe in others. My style of leadership is I don't tell people what to do. I just let them do it. And while they're doing it, they will show themselves. I'll see the weaknesses and all these things. And I won't throw that weakness at them. I try to build it. But at the same time, I can be so encouraging, I can support, but there's a time I will draw a line. The moment I see that anyone within the system will affect negatively the others, I don't mind to draw a line, whatever the cost, because I want to preserve that legacy of a vision, seeing people with integrity, people doing their best. They don't have to be extra brilliant, but be the best of themselves. So if I see any in the system, anything that will compromise what we stand for or the dream of the institution, I can let go. I can be passionate, but at the same time, I can be detached. And once I'm detached, I always give people a long rope to hang themselves. But once I'm detached, maybe my weakness, I don't look back. I can forgive, I can do anything, but I'm there to protect the core value of that institution, because it's no more my vision, it's been shared, and it's a collective vision of many people that stake their lives. Actually, when I look at OG, Dr. Guru, Dr. Mildred, everybody together, I'm more concerned about them, what they've sacrificed their life, what they pitched their tent to share their vision when nobody believed in it. I always try to protect that. So that has helped me to see the strength in people, build them, tell them the truth when things are going wrong. At the same time, pull them, love them for what they are, and appreciate them for even believing in me. So I think that's what more or less kept us going as a family. I always see us as a family, that sort of thing. And I'm not just interested in, I want to see a guy, do you have a roof over your head? Do you have you achieved this? How do you, I know what we did to get Dr. Gogo married. I will see Dr. Gogo, but Dr. Gogo, you say, I have a focus. I must achieve this thing before I get married. I must achieve things. And that's it. You see people who are focused, they know where they're going, you encourage them. At the end of the day, things fall in places. We're all different people. We're all different, their ideas, but we can converge the strength, that individual strength, and create a synergy that creates an organization that is enviable. At the same time, we're happy as ourselves. The greatest missionary work anybody can do in life is in your home. And that is important, that we focus on how all of us in our organization can have a happy home. So we translate beyond academics, beyond big institution, but putting emphasis also on having a family and transferring this to the younger generation within our family. I think that's what has been the strength in my, having a one-to-one relationship with everybody, see their strength and block my ears when I hear negative things, and make sure that those negative things, until prove otherwise, I will stand by them. And they also, I'm sure, they've really been with me with all their strength and faith and belief, so that we're just a family. That's what has kept us together.
Thank you very much, sir. Just one last question from Moshe Kunola Yoloye, who said, Dr. Hassan, thank you so much for the wonderful series. Indeed lonely. How can we help in reducing this loneliness without compromising your standard?
Thank you, Dr. Yoloye. Actually, I was seeing Dr. Yoloye for a long time. I've been with Abuja for 3 years, and I'm really happy you are here, and I hope when I get to Abuja, I'll see you again. Well, in terms of leadership loneliness, actually leadership loneliness should be seen as a source of strength, because when you are lonely, there are two reactions. You can be lonely. Some people can go into depression. They can see it as a problem. I'm not this, but some people used to see it as a source of strength, that I got to isolate myself, detach myself from all what is going on and focus on how best can I solve this problem? How best can I look at these challenges? What are the resources available I'm not seeing? Where can I approach? So loneliness can be a blessing in disguise, enable to have you to introspectively look at things and find solution. And also enable you to meditate, help you to get closer to your maker. It gives you the time to see life not as it is, and to see in people not what they are, but what they can become. You need that isolation to be able to see beyond that. You know, when I look at my colleagues today, we are together, I just smile because when we are starting, we saw that potential. You know, so loneliness in leadership is a source of strength, and one should take it that way. And if you see the younger ones that have that but may not be able to comprehend it, you may have to help them to see that this is the way life is. Life is always not rosy. Life, you strike a balance between the good and the bad and evolve and face challenges, and at the end of the day, there'll be a smile on our face. So thank you, Dr. Yoloye.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for always being optimistic and always encouraging us. And we look forward to next year. So I want to thank every one of you for making time out today and even over the past months, listening to this Founder Series. I want to thank Dr. Hassan. I want to thank his family, his wife, Mrs. Hassan, for also being by his side, because that has also helped to support him and give him the time to think things out and to give us his experiences over the past years and prepare us for succession. So thank you very, very much, sir. Thank you, everyone. And I wish you all a lovely weekend, a happy month, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.